Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana. And we're here today with special guest, Mary Davis, who's here to share with us her new book, Everyday Spirit, a Daybook of Wisdom, Joy, and Peace. So are you looking for a way to bring more inspiration and peace into your life? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Mary Davis is a wisdom seeker, spiritual teacher, visionary, graphic artist, and mystic entrepreneur. Her wallpaper app, Everyday Spirit Lock Screens, brings a little love, beauty, and inspiration to phones around the world. Mary received her BSN from Georgetown University's School of Nursing, after which she spent many fun years as a musician, songwriter, producer, piano teacher, and yoga instructor. She completed her Compassionate Bereavement Counseling certification in 2017 and works with parents who have lost children and in hospice care. So welcome to the show, Mary Davis.
Thank you, Marianne. Thanks for having me.
Well, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book. What inspired you to write this?
Well, I took the long way around to writing this book for about a decade. I had wanted to write a day book of inspirations and spiritual practices that would be really accessible for anyone and have simple tools that would help us in challenging times. But it didn't really start to flow through me until I found myself in a really difficult time in my own life. I was going through a sad divorce from a long term marriage, and I had moved into a cabin at the foot of the Blue Ridge Mountains alone with the idea of writing this book finally. But the voice had changed. It was to help me to heal. And I had the sense that if I could nail this for myself, then it would be helpful for all of us. So I started collecting tools like gratitude and meditation, mindfulness, how to cultivate inner peace, and looking at how would these practices work in challenging situations? How could we find a calm center in the storms of our life? And in a year and a half that it took me to write the book, I was completely transformed. And the book became a sort of roadmap, and it still is my survival manual. And I'm so grateful now to get to share it with other people and witness the same kind of transformation in them that I found in myself.
Well, what a powerful experience to be spending a year in a cabin, being able to have that time and doing this writing. How would you say that shaped the messages within your book?
I think it shaped it a lot because I was completely alone in a beautiful setting with nature abounding. I had no TV, no cell service. It was kind of being off the grid. And I think that it allowed me to really listen to the voice within and to listen to the voice of spirit and to look up from the phone, and notice the beauty of nature, to remember personal experiences, and then put that all together in a way that could be practiced easily during the day. So, it being a day book, each day has one single page and one single thought to practice. So, being in the cabin allowed me the time to really break it down into small, beautiful steps.
So many people struggle to find peace and joy in the midst of chaos. I mean, life happens and like finding peace and joy is so hard. What advice do you have for them to cultivate these qualities daily?
Yeah. When we are in times of grief or challenges, I think the biggest gift that we can give ourselves is to take some time each day for an inner check-in. And I call that a daily spiritual practice. But what I mean really is taking quiet time to pause, to Read something inspirational to calm your racing thoughts, to learn how to lower your stress level through some simple tools, breathing exercises, to set yourself up for the best possible day. And I feel like we're all kind of longing for that, for some time for inner peace, to find ourselves stepping out of the chaos and into a higher way of thinking that we can connect to and then bring back into our worldly day and be able to look at it from a higher perspective.
I love how your book emphasizes gratitude, kindness, and mindfulness.
Mm.
What simple practice can our readers and listeners use to incorporate into their lives to stay present and uplifted?
Yeah, and that goes back to the practice that I encourage readers to take during the day, and the messages that you singled out, the gratitude and kindness, mindfulness. When we practice that, we get better at it. And I used to be a piano teacher, and the kids who learned the secret of practice had the most fun because when we practice something, we notice that we get better and it's exciting and it makes us want to practice more. And whether we look at it this way or not, we're always practicing something. So we can practice thinking about what we're missing out on, or we can be practicing gratitude. We can be practicing being stressed out, or we can practice the tools of calm and peace. So it's not making it homework as much as changing where we put our focus. And once we give even 15 minutes in the morning, we could start with 5, but reading something inspirational, this book was written for as a companion for just that time when you want to slow your mind down and read one page. And then you could write down 5 things that you're grateful for. And that practice has enormous amounts of positive research about the results. And you could take a few minutes for some deep breaths and notice how it calms you, how it changes the way you think of things. You could shoot off an affirmation or a prayer regarding some worry or concern. And in that 5, 10 minutes, you've got to practice. And when you do that every day, it changes things. Small steps can really change your life.
My goodness, you weave together reflections and prayers and meditations. How do these elements working together support spiritual growth?
Well, I think that that is part of it is that there's an essay for every day of the year. So there are 366 ideas in there. Some of them are more traditional practices, as we mentioned, but some of them are things like what you could do when you're having a really busy day and setting your phone alarm and standing up every hour and just putting your hand on your heart and taking a breath and offering up a thought for assistance for what's next. There's talk about forgiveness and of speaking to people with who have difference of opinion from us, how to be kinder to ourselves and others. There's lots to choose from. So the way that I present it is not that I have the magic template for your spiritual practice, but more as a gardener where I'm planting seeds and um, presenting and sharing a lot of options, and you organize your spiritual practice the way that's right for you with the elements that resonate. And then you have the spiritual practice that is perfect for your own growth. And I'd like to add that we're not really fixing anything, we're not trying to grow into something better as much as unveil the beauty and the peace and the joy that is already within.
Can you share with us a passage or concept from your book that had a real profound impact on you personally?
Hmm. Well, there is a quote to start each page, and one that often comes to me is this: joy is finding the holy in the small and the sacred in the everyday. And I found that, especially living in the cabin, it has really carried over into my daily life, that happiness is not about fixing big things that had gone wrong. It wasn't about fixing the world or fixing my marriage or other people. It was about finding 1,000 beautiful small things that were going right. And once I trained my eye on that, I found that meaning and purpose and love and joy could be found in everyday places, in the mundane, in our everyday lives, that it was right here in the room.
I love that. I think that that's so empowering. In today's fast-paced world, they feel so disconnected from themselves. How can everyday spirit help bring them back to a sense of connection and meaning?
I think you've really hit on something, because I feel that we are disconnected from the part of ourselves that has the greatest perspective. You do a lot of interviews, some that are in the spiritual realms, and we think of ourselves as beings of mind, body, and spirit. But I feel that our world is asking us mostly to operate with mind and body, and the spirit part of us takes a distant back seat. And I really feel more than ever that we are longing for this conversation and this idea that this is an integral part of us, and arguably the most important and powerful part of us. And that really the mind and body should be listening to direction from spirit, that our spiritual selves, that's really our North Star. When we put spirit in the lead, everything else feels clearer and brighter and more beautiful and less dramatic, because we know that we have everything we need inside of us now.
I know that your book has been described as poetic and uplifting. How do you approach blending wisdom with the beauty of language?
That is so interesting. That is everything for me. That is really important for me. And I think where that may have come from is I was a songwriter for decades. And songwriting and writing about spirit are similar in that we're talking about concepts that you have to search for words for, and you use very few words to convey an idea that we can feel and see and hear and know in the depth of our bones. And I'm always looking for the metaphor, the beautiful image that I can define that speaks to the spiritual concept that I am sharing. So you really hit that. And that means so much to me to combine my love of writing with the idea of writing for something, about something that is um, hard to find the words for. And when you do find it, when you land on it, when you nail it for yourself, you know that it's shareable and that it will spark that light in someone else.
How do you hope readers will integrate the teachings of everyday spirit into their daily lives?
I hope it happens organically, because I think that when we practice, for instance, gratitude, it's not meant for the 15 minutes that we're doing our spiritual practice. It's really meant to be lived. And so when we focus on something, it grows. That attention part of us is a magic wand. And when we focus on something, let's say gratitude, and we do it every day, and we're writing down these 5 things, we are organizing our minds to look for more gratitude. And so we find ourselves noticing the flower or the sunset or the kind word or the little space in time that we didn't expect that day. And we tend to say thank you. And what's even more wonderful is that tends to draw the energy of abundance and things to be grateful for right back into our orb, and we find even more of it. So I believe that our practices are meant to organically filter into everything we do and become one with our daily life.
So, Mary, where can our readers connect with you and be part of your community and learn more about Everyday Spirit?
I would love that. Thank you. I have the daybook and I have a gratitude journal as well as an app. And all that can be found on my website, which is everydayspirit.net. And everything's there. And I have a monthly newsletter as well. And I would love to see you there.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Thank you so much, Marianne, for having me. It was a delight.
Well, thank you, Mary. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your new book, Everyday Spirit, a daybook of wisdom, joy, and peace. Everyday Spirit is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all indie retailers. And remember, support our indie bookstores. If you don't see it on the shelf, just ask for them to order it. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.